And welcome into Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. Postgame, October 10th, after the Boston Bruins beat the Montreal Canadiens 6-4 in the 24-25 home opener. And Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor is proudly presented by one of our lead sponsor, by Fazenda, one of our favorites. They've been with us since the beginning. Fazenda Coffee. They are Boston's finest boutique coffee roaster, and they are just, I'm telling you, the best, folks. If you can go check out fazendacoffee.com/morning brew, check out the Morning Brew blend, check out soon, not just yet, but check out Morning Brew hats that are going to be in. If you're watching us on YouTube, I've got the new logo. Razor's got, we'll call it vintage now, Razor, the vintage one. We got the new logos coming in. Oh, it's looking good. And hey, listen, Fazenda Coffee, if you're looking to serve the best coffee in town, Fazenda Coffee Roaster partners with cafes, bakeries, and restaurants to bring high-quality, fresh roasted beans and unmatched support. If you're just looking to start or you want to upgrade your coffee menu, Fazenda has the perfect solution for you. Visit fazendacoffee.com wholesale if you want to look more into this program, and book a call today to see if they can help you and your business grow. I do like, you know what? I'm happy with the new logo. I was happy with the old logo too, but I don't know. What do you think, Razor? What you like the hockey sticks they added to the new logo or no?
Yeah, I do. I think the whole thing's clever. I think there's lots of, it's like I guess I shouldn't go all the way to the Hartford Whaler logo, but I do think there's a lot of nuance in our logo. I think it's clever.
Yeah, Fred Toucher can't stand it. He says it's all.
Does he like anything?
Well, that's a good point. Probably not. He's only happy when he's unhappy. But I will see him early tomorrow morning. I'm sure he'll give me shit.
Well, at least they won. So,
yes, that is true. Yeah. Hey, how about this for good news, bad news? Would you want the good news or the bad news first? Which one?
I like bad news first.
Okay. The Bruins have given up 10 goals.
Yes.
In 2 games. You want the good news? They scored 10 goals.
There you go. On 10-10, too. Lots of 10s tonight.
Identical 6-4 scores. They lose 6-4 in Florida. They win 6-4 over the Montreal Canadiens. Razor, you were ringside. You had a different view than I had from the 5th floor suite. Good look tonight, Razor, by the way. I'm not sure. Is that a Jack Victor that you brought out?
Yeah, of course it is. You know that.
Excellent.
That's excellent. Absolutely. The jacket is. I don't know what the shirt and the other stuff is, but
all right, good stuff. The jacket was definitely worthy of opening night. Much better energy from the Boston Bruins coming out. Much more intensity, much more dedication to the system, but also the style with which they wanted to play. A very different level of opponent than in Florida. However, this is early in the season, and that really kind of levels things off in many ways. We've seen some crazy scores already in the NHL. You know, you saw Edmonton, everybody, consensus back to the Stanley Cup favorite, and they got throttled last night by Winnipeg 6-0. So early on in the season, I almost don't know if it matters who you're playing. I don't think it does. So give the Bruins credit in that they came out, they did what they really wanted to do with the forecheck, the wall battles, the shots from the point, etc. And in the end, a big general picture comment from you, Razor. I thought that they did a lot of good. Still stuff to clean up, but they did a lot of good in this game.
Yeah, exactly. They needed that kind of energy and that effort, and they needed a little bit of bounce back for whatever that's worth. And I think they got it. It felt like a preseason game downstairs, not in intensity, but just in execution, in delivery. Mm-hmm. A lot of miscommunication. Not everyone on the same page, especially with the little plays that the Bruins are so good at. The little center play, the little reverse, it wasn't on both sides. Everybody, it just kind of looked chaotic, and I'm starting to lean that it must have felt like that on Tuesday as well. But to your point, they're just kind of better players on the other side, and they're on the road, except and they got behind in the game.
And meanwhile, meanwhile, Florida goes on the road into Ottawa
and they lose
and gets beat. Right. Correct. So you got to think that Florida also benefited from the energy of being home, the ceremony, that can go one way or the other, right? We know that, but
Mhm.
they fed off all of that. To their credit, they were freaking really good at home. And then you could see the lull. I watched the highlights, and they couldn't get as much going against the Ottawa Senators. So with all that said, the Bruins
Bunch of
again,
1-and-1s, right? Like, everybody's
exactly.
gonna be 1-and-1 for everyone's gonna be like, it's just gonna be hard. It's a tough conference, tough game, and everyone's, um the Bruins, I talked to Marshy after like, we haven't practiced. We haven't practiced together. We had like everyone's still trying to figure out where they are and get together. And again, I think the Bruins did a good job tonight. They were better. They were better intensity. The game was kind of over for a long time. It got close at the end, but very similar to Florida. Like, it wasn't a 6-4 game. I didn't think tonight was a 6-4 game either.
I would agree. Tonight was not a 6-4 game, yet it did get a little. It got a little dicey's not the right word. It got a little like, are you kidding me? Really?
Yeah.
This is where we're at.
Yeah.
Later in the game, what was it? The Gallagher goal that made it 5-4 with about 4 minutes left. And you're like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
Good news is the Bruins came back right after they Kastelik with the goal. We'll talk about his line. They were excellent.
They were great.
That line was really good. Let's just go go early on in the game. The no goal call. You had it on TV. Barry and I were talking about it off air. At first, to the naked eye, you're like, that's a goal. That's a goal. Unfortunately, we don't play replays to the naked eye. We slow it down. We see. I get it that a lot of fans probably don't like it. I don't happen to like it, and it's it was goalie interference though by the book in the sense of there's contact made. The skate is in the crease, and then the body makes contact with the stick. I guess you could argue that the stick may have been outside the crease, but still, Primo's body, some of it was still in the paint as well. And the fact that Brazo's big feet got in the way, it just is. We don't like it. Maybe it's too much protecting of the goalies, but on the other hand, that's the rule right now, bud. We got no choice about it.
No, and well, you're right and all that, but and the other thing is, like, Primo would have made that save if Brazo wasn't there. Like, if he doesn't get turned around, like, it is also really hard to make a slap shot, like a save when guys are shooting pucks really fast and turning you 6 inches is the difference.
Yeah.
Right. So I get it. People, he didn't get run over, but it doesn't take much in that situation. Just exactly. Lindholm shot it exactly where he was. He tried to take that play and it didn't hit him. It took me a little while to really process it, but I watched Primo as it went in, and right away he was annoyed.
Yeah.
Right away he went to it, and then you could see from the overhead that the stick turned, and then also the skate got into it. I think if one of the other, you'd have a better argument, but because both Brazo's skate and his arm hit Primo, it's like, okay, what do you want me to do?
I agree about that. I might even say, though, partner, the way that the NHL calls it now, they might have just called it even if one thing. Just we've seen such.
Well, no, and they would have been right if that skate hits them and pushes them out of the way. Then
just a little. I know. Again, sometimes it doesn't seem to make sense. You're like, wait a second, these are 200-pound guys. They got.
Yeah.
It is what it is, though. I mean, we don't always love it, but I do think they did. By the book, they got it right. Anyways, all right. So we both agree on that. Gallagher scores soon after that to make it 1-0 Montreal,
which you knew was going to happen.
Well, I thought it could. I don't know if I knew I would. I'm with you. I thought it could. I'm like, holy shit, come on now. And you know what? Montreal's power play, Marty St. Louis has worked an awful lot on that. And they get the power play goal, and Gallagher, Bruin, a guy that the Bruins have had more than their fair share of tussles with throughout his career. How about him? He is, 13 years now in the NHL? That's crazy. Good for him. I mean, he's made it. He's a pest, but hey, good for him. But then the Bruins kept coming and coming with the same type of play. Quick ups, get in deep into the ozone. They did a good job of the low to high play. Why do you think they were so successful with the low to high play, especially in the first period? That generated a lot of looks from pucks being released. We'll call it, whether it's from defensemen, but just from the point area. Why do you think they were so successful?
I think it's because of their size. I think that's where the size really shows up, especially on Kastelik's first goal. In that, he made all of that happen, and it's just a simple play. he wins it right down underneath the wall and rims it up to the point, and then he can find a little space because it spreads out. But it's all about the battles down low, and that's why Florida's good low to high, because they're, and if the Bruins D can get as simple as the Florida D at times, where they're completely fine taking a wrister from way in the corner, not trying to work to the middle, not trying to get down low. It's just back and at the net. If they can get that, it's formidable, and that size pays off. And I think that's what we saw.
And I do think the mentality tonight was to get rid of pucks quickly. Lindholm the goal didn't count, but he didn't hesitate to give it a half clapper. And it wasn't a back scratcher. It was maybe not even a half. It was like a third or so, but he got rid of it right away. McAvoy was committed numerous times to getting rid of the puck. And good for Charlie. Again, he scores. That was a really great goal. We'll talk about in a moment. What I just loved about it, how he was moving open, but then he never looked at the puck ever once. He had all of the options in front of him, but he committed to the shot. And that was great. Zadorov, I don't even know. I don't have it in front of me. Maybe he had one shot on goal, but he was looking to push pucks through. All these guys were looking to get rid of the puck quickly. And when the Bruins rotated and a forward came to cover the point area, they were the same type of thing. They're getting rid of it quickly. And that is so important to your point about how that's what Florida does well. So that's a good reason. I also just think that the Bruins, when they were able to clear through the neutral zone more, they didn't screw around with the puck in the neutral zone. They had numerous times where they really got it to middle ice with speed quickly. They then got the puck into the zone. Yes, then they won battles. Let's touch on Charlie McAvoy. We wanted to see more offense from the back end. He now has 2 goals on this very young season, a goal in each game. Maybe over-analysis early on, but at least he really seems, to wanting to establish that more offensive presence to his game. Obviously necessary. But to me, let's see it keep going. But it seems like he's making that concerted effort. He is to be more involved.
Agreed. And I think the goal itself is he would have passed that 9 times out of 10 the last few seasons, and he held
on to it a teeny bit longer.
Correct. Yes, correct. And he did it again in the third, where he ripped one from the same spot and went high glove and just went over the net. But that idea, and if he can beat goalies with his wrister, then it changes everything. That's what Cale Makar, that's Quinn Hughes, like they find a way to get it through. It doesn't have to be like, I don't think McAvoy shot it harder than anyone else. He just found where Primo was looking and beat him. And if he can do that, then that changes everything. And that puts him into the 20 goals, 17 goals, if he can keep looking and finding seams. So agreed completely in his assertion that he's going to score, jumping into rushes, penalty kill. He's jumping into rushes. And, if he finds the balance and if he's got the right partner, whoever that is, to allow him to do that, then that's some positive defensive scoring that you're going to get.
Talk to me from a goalie's perspective about dealing with I'll call it the fadeaway shot. It's kind of like a fadeaway jumper in basketball. However, there was still a lot of oomph on this one, where he got it and he had already opened up, and then he's kind of going back sideways with the puck. So he's getting into that load position. But as I said, he never once looked at the puck. And so that keeps all of his options open. Is there a shot? Is there a tip? Is there a pass to be made? But from a goaltender's perspective, talk me through the challenges that Primo is facing there with that shot.
A lot of it's the traffic, and it was really hard to tell. There was guy there, like Zaka was right in front. He had a D-man in front, and I think that's what Charlie's observing. He's looking for pass, and then he's also looking, okay, when's the goalie looking left? When is he going to start moving right? I'm going to catch him right in between. That's the only explanation I have, because again, it was a wrister from 50 feet.
Yeah.
So it really shouldn't beat a National Hockey League goaltender that easily. But again, that's what he did well, and that's what the best players do. So if he's developing that, and again, your analysis of him looking up the whole way is precise in that. That's what makes it hard for a goaltender. As he fades, he just waits. And at some point, the longer he fades, he has to look around the screen. And if you time it properly, which the NHL guys, that's what they do because they're the best in the world. They time it that split second properly, then you can't make the save because you don't see the release.
Yeah. So McAvoy with a real nice, I don't know, a high level professional game tonight. You know, again, he was able to bring the goods from the back end and do what the Bruins needed there, and so did other players. Again, I thought Lindholm did. By the way, the pairs going into this game compared to Game 1, McAvoy when he's playing with Lindholm, it was Zadorov and McAvoy, Lindholm, Carlo, Tyler Wotherspoon in and playing with Andrew Peeke, Wotherspoon in for Mason Lowry. We discussed a little bit, Razor, last morning brew with Jaffe and Razor about would there be any changes to the lineup. We weren't sure. I thought there could. You didn't think there would be.
Yeah, I was wrong. Yeah.
Well, but okay. Well, shit, I'm wrong every night. But what I'm saying, what the reason I bring that up is, you know, I think it was the right move to, especially to sit out Lowry. It's okay to send a message right there. We talked about it in our pregame show, and the kid will be back in soon. Montgomery to the media talked earlier in the day about how this wasn't indicative of either player who was taken out. Max Jones was taken out and Lowry. I don't know if I'm buying that completely.
Oh,
and
no.
that's exactly okay.
If
fine,
they won
but,
4-0, would anybody be changing?
No, exactly. And you know, he wants to get everybody involved. I respect that. But you know what? Neither of those guys played to the level they needed to. And Lowry, the good news with Lowry is he's got so much confidence. He'll be all right. He'll come back. But you get that this is the goodness of having Wotherspoon as your 7 that you know that you can establish in the lineup for the most part anytime and ask him to play 13 to 17 minutes and to do a nice job. But that's what we saw. That's the reason why we saw Razor different defensive pairs heading into this game.
Yeah, exactly. And there is a part of that. I think you're going to see the experiment continue on the back end, whoever the 6 are, and just try and get a feel for exactly who. And I don't think it's necessarily who's playing with Charlie. It's more who's going to be in the middle. Who's playing with Carlo. What's the matchup on the other side, and who that looks like. Is it, are you going to go real? We haven't seen really. Is Zadorov and Carlo going to get together at some point? Like we're going to see that, I would assume, at some point. And what that looks like and who those are against. So the D did a good job. Again, they're not all on the same page. Carlo struggled at times. They had struggled at times breaking out, but at the end of the day, 5 points from the back end, that's positive. And I think they are moving the puck and skating well. They're just have to get on the same page a little bit.
They do, and they're box out and stuff in the first period on the Cole Caulfield goal. That's
just from they're not organized 10 seconds earlier. Right. Like they're not in the right. They're chasing the last 5 seconds of a play because they're not in the right position earlier in the shift or off of a face off, and the forwards aren't really with them. And it just doesn't look the same as it has when they're really on.
Yeah, I'd agree. They seem to clean it up in the second period, right? Though they did. They much better. How long did they keep Montreal without a shot? I don't remember. It was
at least 9 minutes.
Yeah, it was a long time.
It was 10.
Yeah, they were doing a nice job. Third period, a little loose again at the end. But the good news is they did clean up after the first, and they responded in the first, which was really good. Just to give you an idea on ice time, Hampus 23 minutes, McAvoy 22:56, or just under that. McAvoy had a total of 7 attempts. 3 of them ended up hitting the net, and again, he had a goal. Hampus with no points in the game, though. He had 8 attempts. 3 of them hit the net in this matchup. Carlo, 2 assists, 20 minutes and 13 seconds. Peeke 15-13, and Parker Wotherspoon 12:56. The big man Nikita Zadorov just under 19 minutes, and he had 2 assists. So he had an eventful game. He had an involved game. The big man.
He's always going to be. He's a little eventful, right?
It is eventful. Yes, it is.
Good.
You sometimes don't know if the event's going to be smooth or bumpy at
like
times,
a broken stick, and it's just that's.
He's got personality, man.
It's a good thing. Yeah,
it is.
I love it.
He's got good personality, both on and off the ice. You can tell it. You can look at him and watch him, and you can see his kind of passion for it. Right? Like it's an intensity that the Bruins, at least we think it just should help them in the long run, this type of thing. And like you said, sometimes the event is one way and the other. All right. So the Bruins in this game, I mean, they're up 3-2 after the first period. The first period, by the way, where they end up out face-offing. Is that even a term? I don't think it is. The Montreal Canadiens 20-9. And while that isn't always the end-all be-all, they did have a lot of puck control because of that. They did. They had a lot of puck control. They had a lot of opportunity to make plays happen, to keep, and I really liked actually how their forwards helped win a lot of faceoffs as well with second and third efforts. But you could see Elias Lindholm in the first period doing stuff. They come out into the second period, and while they don't allow a shot for a long time to Montreal, they also don't score until near the end of the second period, when the top line, the Elias Lindholm line, gets going after it. David Pastrnak gets his second goal of the season. This one, albeit off of a real legitimate shot, really nice play. First by Lindholm helping support on the forecheck, but really by Pavel Zacha, right? Who does a beautiful job, even spins behind the net, finds Pastrnak in the mid slot, just on the inside part of the right side. So that would be to the glove side of Primo. And Razor, I don't think he got everything on that shot. It was a one-timer. It's kind of toe job, so to speak, right? He was able to elevate it.
Little knuckler, perfectly positioned or perfectly accurate, but not a hammer. Just get it on net. But it's all Zacha. All Zacha. That was masterclass behind the net.
Yeah, he comes down, and right before he gets below the goal line, he ends up kind of doing a bit of a spin move to allow himself to continue pursuing the puck, controlling then the puck. When he comes back the other way, but from the right side back to the left and then back to the right, that's when all the eyes and skates of the Montreal Canadiens turned to focus on him. And then Pastrnak was able to find that quiet ice. David has had chances in both games, more in this one than in the first one, albeit you could say the same thing for the whole Bruins team. But it doesn't seem like he's hit his stride at all yet. Like, where you see David and you're like, okay, he's good for two, no matter what. It's like he's gotten 2 goals already, Razor, but does it feel that same way to you, that he just hasn't gotten to that pasta level yet?
No, and the games haven't, the games aren't there yet. They're just not crisp enough for him to, it's a bobble here, or the neutral zone hasn't been crisp and not a lot of pace. So he's still finding the power plays close, really, really close.
Much better in this game.
They moved it around. There's a couple chances where maybe one more pass really opens up David, but no, they're both games. The fact that they have 10 goals, 10 against, none of them have been really pretty, right? Like, there hasn't been any like beauties. Reinhardt's the only one that I think of like, wow, that was amazing. Everything else has been kind of just pucks at the net or chaos off of legs, whatever it is. And it's just early in the year stuff.
Yeah. The good news is when he gets going and he's
correct.
Still putting in
the
goals.
The fact that he has 2 out of all of that junk
right.
is like, okay, well, he's good for 3 at some point here, right?
Yeah. Let's touch quickly on the captain. Speaking of good, I thought he was really good in this game. He had much more pace. He had much more determination. Brad Marchand, I thought, was really I said this in post game. You tell me if you agree or not. I think he maybe took a little bit of that game one, maybe personally. The team comes out, they're not energized from the get go. They're on their heels, etc. All that stuff. He's such a ferocious leader. He's such a proud player. He seemed to come out, even though he didn't end up recording a goal. He had 1 assist in this game. I felt he was very noticeable for his work ethic and completely led by example. Much different performance game 2 than game 1.
Yeah, and not rewarded for any of it. Even on that hit that he laid on the PK, and then they score like 7 seconds later. They go like he made the hit, got back into perfect position. Everyone's in perfect, and it still somehow went in. Like I got to imagine he felt a little snake bitten on that place, but and a few other ones. So he brought it. He that's what he's done for the 84 games he's been captain in the regular season. And exactly, he led by example. He wasn't going to let this group off the hook with low energy 2 nights in a row to start the season.
Were you surprised that they called that delay game penalty near the end of the game?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I got he did the walk off, and I couldn't I couldn't wait for him to come in, and before we got on camera, I just couldn't wait to ask him about it. And he was seething, like absolutely seething that they did that to him. And so
we haven't seen that in a long time.
We had a good couple minutes. Like we didn't go on for a couple minutes because I really wanted to get the end of it. And I don't know how they called it. It's like it's a tough call to make, and it was kind of close. Like I would get it if it was 5-2 and the guy was showing them up, but like and to his point, like show me the intent that I wasn't trying to put it off the glass.
Right, put up the glass and right, exactly.
Yeah. I don't know how, and it's Wes McCauley, and that's he's a veteran guy, and he probably didn't appreciate it, but I don't think the league can allow that call to be played out that way every night.
I thought we got away with those kind of judgment calls. And it's totally different. I know when you shoot it out of play from your own zone, it's right. Black and white. It's
black and white. Done. You can't do that in the offensive zone. Like the guy had a breakaway and he chips it over, like shoots it over. Like you can't give him a delay of game call.
Right.
So no, that was my favorite part of the game.
Yeah,
because I got a huge kick out of it.
The bench didn't look to be too happy either. Not only was Brad upset, they were pissed off. And because they should
like what? So what do you think? Like where are you? Like
no, it shouldn't have been called. It shouldn't have been called.
Yeah,
it shouldn't have been called. I'm with them. No, I know. Because we're sitting there watching and we're thinking, well, no, that can't be. And then I didn't see it. The call made it first. I don't know if there was hesitation or whatever. But then when the call was made, I said, how are you telling me, that this is fully intended? And even if I guess, even if there was any kind of intent, it's still a judgment call.
Yeah.
But by the official. So I was surprised. I almost feel like that's an early season penalty call type of thing where a guy or, the
refs aren't sharp either.
They're not sharp. Well, not only that, but they're being watched. Right. Yeah. And and everything is fresh in their head. And, they've memorized the rule book because they've read it 15 times in the off season. You know what I mean? Like, it's like a new toy again, right? Like they're all, so maybe, I don't know, but I'm with you, man. I got
a kick out. He was not happy still.
He should have been pissed.
After that. After the game, he was still not happy.
Well, I get it. Right. I get it. All right. I want to mention our sponsors here. And then after that, I want to go and talk about the impact of Elias Lindholm for the line. Again, I want to talk about the fourth line, Kostelic and Koepke and Beecher and the way they did. And then I want to get a thought on Jeremy Swayman before we wrap up this morning brew with Jaffe and Razor. But right now, I want to mention about Graciano Construction. There's these people, I'm telling you, Doug Graciano and his crew, these are exactly the type of people you want, working on your house, revitalize and refresh your space. Visit www.gracianoconstruction.com. You can call 508-330-7589, serving Greater Boston and Metro West, and even more. Check out Graciano Construction. They're the contractor who will help you really make your space different, from small jobs to big jobs. They do it all. And they do it with pride and with respect for the customer. Go check out GracianoConstruction.com. And even if you're just considering a project, give Doug and his guys a call, have them come over, get an estimate, see what they're all about. High marks to Graciano Construction. Also, high marks to RTN Realty. You're looking to buy, sell, or lease a property? Check out RTN Realty. Chris Gentile and his staff of 16. They've got you covered, Razor, for everything you could want to do. Nothing too big or small. All types of residential sales and no pressure. They're not going to be screwing around with that stuff. This is, hey, doesn't happen, it doesn't happen type of thing. If you want to use them, great. But visit rtnrealty.com or email cgentile, Gentile, at rtnrealty.com. You can also call them, 617-835-0845. Chris has over 2,500 transactions, and you can just, again, talk with him, see what he's got going. But check out rtnrealty.com. Razor, if you're in youth hockey or even adult hockey and you need your skate sharpened, is there any other place to go besides Sparks?
Nope. It's easy. Sparks.com, sparkshockey.com, easiest thing in the world. They're a partner with the Bruins, all the NHL teams. I mean, it's automatic, and it does nothing but save time and money. My kids go down and use it themselves in the basement. Once a year, I go down and put my coach skates in there and give them a little two pass buzz so I don't fall in my face because I was walking through the parking lot with them
Yeah,
on.
but don't you need them sharp for the Bergie skates or no? Don't you need them sharp?
No, yeah, that's my other skates, but that's like every couple weeks. I forget about those sometimes too, and then complain about it in the morning. It's the best purchase I've made in hockey, better than any of my kids' whatever it is. It's just sparkshockey.com. They're the best, and it's an absolute no-brainer if you have a couple of pairs of skates in your family.
You will be very happy you did it, and if you want, you can put in the code BRU, BRU50, get $50 off. They also always have great deals on their website too. They've got 16 different grinding rings, Razor, as well. So if you really want to get intricate to
we
this
switched
thing,
it up. We
did
switched
you?
it up. Yeah, we went. I got the 5/8, a quarter, and then we went like 15/18 or something. Like, so yeah, we've gone off the board. So I have like 3 or 4 different ones.
I moved myself Jake more than anything because he skates so much. I moved him over to 3/4 now. I did because he's getting so big and when the ice is soft,
you're full on goalie skate mode. Yeah, we're way up there, so it's fun.
All right. It is fun. All right, so check out Sparks. We thank RTN Realty, Gracio and Construction, and Sparks for their support of Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. Speaking of support, Elias Lindholm does support his teammates real well on the ice. He does. He's in that spot. Let's talk about the bumper position and what he does for the benefit of the power play.
How did he score 40 goals in this league? Like, I thought about it halfway through the second period, and this is a positive thing because you talk about how he supports his teammates. I halfway through the second, I was like, how did this guy score 40 goals? I need to go back and look at all 40 of those goals he scored in the season because he is a facilitator. Right. I mean, he hasn't looked to. I know he scored tonight. He hasn't looked. That was a tip. He did not look to shoot once tonight. He was looking for Pasta the whole time, and I think that will open up, and I assume that changes as he gets a little more comfortable. I think he's forcing Pasta right now through 2 games. But I was thinking, like, how did this guy, like, if he opens up and actually wants to score rather than just looking for Zach and Pasta, look out.
Yeah, I think you make a good point that, look, it's always what's the easiest way to ingratiate yourself to new people, right?
Yeah,
you not defer to them, but you compliment them.
Yes,
he's doing that right now. He knows that he's got these 2 very high level producers on his side. Is one of the best in the world, and another one when he shoots, like we saw in game 1. Holy shit, can rip it, right? We've known that now for a couple of years, and I think he's, I don't think he's trying to like play like I'm not worthy type. He's saying, look, I got you guys right now. I couldn't agree with you more. If he starts looking to shoot it a little more, it will actually help him significantly because that'll open up his guys that he can facilitate the puck to even more than. But he does move very well. The anticipation is very, very good. He's confident when he gets the puck to, like, he'll get it on the power play in that bumper spot in some tight kind of, nefarious positions or whatever, or nervous positions is probably the better word. And he won't panic. At least we haven't seen it yet. You know what I mean? And I'm pumping brakes. We're just 2 games in. But at least in these 2 games, he gets it. He moves it to that other spot. And it's so good to see that. That should, emphasis on should, make a difference for him. He ends up with a goal and 2 assists in this game and a +2, 18 and a half minutes. He actually ends up 1 under 500 in the faceoff circle, 6 win, 7 losses. But he does seem to have developed chemistry. And let's not forget, he hardly had any training camp himself.
Exactly.
So, I think this is let's see how this is 2 to 3 weeks in, really, before we make any real snap judgment on him. I think we can make a snap judgment on these guys because the 4th line guys, Razor, because they play a different style than the top line guys. These guys are kicking ass, and what they're doing is they're playing straight line hockey. We're talking about Kastelik, Beecher, and Kepke. Kepke with 3 points in this game matches his career total previously coming in of 3 points. What was it in 26 or 27 games in two previous seasons, parts of two previous seasons. I've liked Kepke. I've said it last show too. Preseason, holy shit, man, he earned this opportunity. Whether or not he can keep this up, he is playing very. I'm gonna get myself to the front of the net hockey. He has done that in both games. He did that in preseason a few times too. So he hasn't changed his stripes, so to speak, since preseason. I love it so far. And the fourth line is something the Bruins definitely needed to be better than they were last year, to be bigger, not just physically, but play bigger. I feel like they've done it so far, Razor.
They have a good vibe going. Kastelik is the not the facility. He's the guy. He's driving the line, and Beecher's following him right behind.
Yep.
I think he's brought Beecher to another level, and like Beecher driving to the front of the net on Kepke's goal. Like that's all. Like Beecher putting his head down, and like we didn't see enough of that, and he's starting to get it. And he's watching Kastelik. He's playing bigger. It's a legit line. It's a legit force. Beecher again killing penalties, so he gets his extra 3 or 4 minutes out there. But you get 10 minutes out of Kastelik like that every night, take it. And I don't even mean the goal, like the 2 goals. Like I just mean that effort. And if he misses the net on the 2 goals he scored on, you're completely fine with that. He's got a big presence out there.
Think about this line. In 10 minutes and 43 seconds, 2 goals, +3. Meanwhile, everybody on that line was a +3. That's unbelievable, right? 3 shots, 3 hits, 3 blocks, and 5 of 6 in the faceoff circle. So his line statistically,
and they score the biggest goal of the game.
Yes,
when it's 5-4, they go right. Like, all right, you guys go. You haven't played half of the third period, but we're gonna let you go out there, and then they go down and score.
They make a difference. They drive again. They get to the front. They crash. Everything good about that. I love this. Last year. And my memory again always sucks. I'm trying. There's so many different combinations, and I've got a book that I'll pull out, in the next day or so about all the combos. But it was all more. It was more about speed, trying to get speed on the fourth line.
Yeah.
Now they're playing with physical presence. At least 2 games again, holding up. Too many accolades, but the DNA has changed. The mentality of it, led by Kastelik, and because of that, I think it has to have an impact on Beecher, right? There was all this talk last year about wanting speed, and we still want speed, but speed is good, but everybody in the NHL is goddamn fast now for the most part, right?
Yeah.
Now you need to be able to take that speed and drive it to the middle ice, or at least attempt to. And so far, these guys have been able to find that formula.
That they have, no question. And it's you said it. It's a simple game, so that you can replicate it if you have the effort and the drive. And again, it's easier when you're a big body to do that on a nightly basis than a smaller body and try and create speed. Some nights it's not there, but you can always use your size if you have that big body, and that's why they're wanted in the NHL. And the Bruins have it. So I look forward to those guys developing chemistry as well.
Yeah. Let's talk Swayman, and then we'll wrap it up. All right. Jeremy Swayman gets in. I don't know if you got a chance to talk to him at all or not, being down there.
I grabbed him before the game.
Okay. And the way that he's, look, he was good. You said during the show, not an easy game. What was it? 11 shots through 2 periods, if I remember correct. Yeah. So not an easy game in that regard. And meanwhile, they give up 2 goals in the first, and both of them be like, again, like we kind of talked about with Corpusal the other night. You're like, what the hell is he supposed to do on those goals? What I liked the most was when he faced very minimal in the second period, and he had 2 or 3 attempts against him, and both, I think it was 2 times, from what I would call legit distance, meaning good scoring chance distance for an NHLer. Not only to make the save, there's no rebounds. He had the puck super glued to him. So that to me said good body positioning, good drift, good presence, just good right there. And that's my uneducated eye. I'll let you take me down the educated path.
No, that's it. That's like again. Now that he's an $8 million goaltender, the $8 million goal, $8.25 million goaltender, yes. They win when they're not good, or not. They win when they're not at their best. Let me put it that way. The context would be bad there. And he's just finding his game. He hasn't played since May. He hasn't played a hockey game since May, and it was a challenging game on top of it because it was chaotic in front. Pucks are bouncing off refs, bouncing off legs. You've got 2 goals again on 6 shots in the first period, so you're like, oh boy, here we go. Like, it's still a close game. Second period, makes a great save on Gallagher, makes a great save on Suzuki. Those are the 2 saves you're talking about. No rebound, good glove save, good smother save. And then the third period, you feel, all right, I'm just going to cruise into a 2-on-22. And then you give up another one. You got to give up another one. And you kind of have to battle, again, two more goals that not really his fault. Nothing you can do about it. Pucks are bouncing. Sticks are broken. And he gets through it. So for him, that's a preseason game. Like if this happened on September 25th, we'd be like, yeah, that's a preseason game. It was good for him to get out there and get his reps. He did that in the regular season, got it out of his system. He's only going to get better, but it's going to take, another couple weeks of he's not going to look like he did in Toronto and Florida in May. It's
nor do you want him to.
No, well, of course not. You're not peaking now. He's just not. So he's pumped. He's super happy, very relaxed, and happy to be back. And he has a full weekend here, 2 more afternoon games to play and win.
Do you think he'll play both? I'm going to wrap it up with that because we were talking at the end of the game off air because you've got LA on Saturday. Good team. Big up front. Not as big as the Bruins on the back end, but big up front. They got some horses up front that you're going to have to deal with. I don't know. I think they're good. Now they're without Drew Doughty, so that's a difference maker. They win their first game. Shocker, Buffalo lost again. They've been on the road for a long time, and they're going to still be on the road. This is like an 18-day trip for LA to start the season as they renovate crypto. But then you also have a Monday matinee against Florida. Do you think I'm going to say they split those because then you're coming back and then they leave Tuesday for Colorado. I can't imagine that he's going to get Florida for sure on Monday. Could you see him going Florida then Colorado and giving Korpisalo Los Angeles where Korpisalo played all of a month and a half, couple of years ago?
I don't know. It's a good question. I don't have a sense, right? I don't have a read. We hadn't
thought about it until near the end of the game.
I laughed at goalie Bob this evening in the hallway, but I didn't even think that. I guess it makes sense that Swayman wouldn't, but
or you go back to back with him, then you give Korpisalo the Colorado game, and you let Swayman have Tuesday through Friday off before they play the Utah Hockey Club.
So next Saturday. I don't have the schedule in front of me. What if Swayman plays the next 4? What if he plays 4 in a row? LA, Florida, Colorado,
Utah.
And he doesn't play Utah. That's what I mean. If he plays till Wednesday night and then he has a break until Monday, is that what it was?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it would be till I'm gonna say Monday.
I don't know when they play Nashville, but sorry, folks.
Yeah, that's fine. Interesting. I'm just curious. Yeah.
If I was a starting goalie and I would be like, okay, I'm going to play the next 2 games at home. I'm going to play in Colorado, and then you can play Utah. I'll take the next 5 days off.
Yeah. He'll take he'll go get one of those obstructed view seats. You can't see.
Or you just get the third. I'll meet you in Nashville. He loves music. He loves playing guitar. He'll just hang out in Nashville for 5 days.
I don't blame him. Call up the guy.
Come up.
Exactly. Do that. All right. Anything else you want to get to?
No, I don't. We got to go, but that's an interesting one. Like, we'll get a cadence for how this goaltending thing's going to work.
I'm just wondering because he hasn't had the camp and everything, and you want to be, you'll have practice Friday, but then you got an early game Saturday. I don't know what you're going to do about Sunday. Then you got an early game Monday, right? I just wonder if that plays into it as well.
Yeah,
Regardless, we'll find out. Our next show, folks, is going to be after Monday's game. All right. We are not going to do a show after Saturday's game against the LA Kings. The Bruins on Monday host the Florida Panthers. Razor and I will do a show in the evening after that game. So remember that. Also, if you're watching on YouTube and you see these fancy hats that we're wearing, we'll keep reminding you that they will be distributed via Fazenda, and we will let you know when they are in, hopefully within the next week that they will be in, and that they're very kind to do the facilitation for us there. Lastly, one other reminder, Razor, at times this year, again, we are part of the Nesson podcast network, but at times this year, there will be other Nesson shows. There's a new podcast there, Hub of Hockey. And there's other stuff, other shows are talking hockey. So they're going to continue to share shows on different feeds. So every once in a while, you may get that. It's all about getting more hockey talk out there, more Boston Bruin hockey talk out there. Just be prepared, and it will be presented as such when that is happening. All right, that's going to wrap up this morning brew with Jaffe and Razor. Thanks to RC, the man, the myth, the legend behind the scenes, taking care of us, putting it all together. Boston Bruins win 6-4 over the Montreal Canadiens. They win their home opener. They are now 14-0-1 in their last 15 against the Montreal Canadiens. Pretty damn good over the last couple of years. Everybody enjoy the victory, and we will talk to you after Monday's game against the Florida Panthers. In the next couple of days, enjoy your freaking coffee.